Hey guys, purpose of this video is to review the syllabus and the Canvas page with you. So let's jump in. So the learning outcomes for the course are pretty straightforward. Basically, we want to familiarize ourselves with health disparity issues. We want to look at the literature and understand the literature and evaluate it and critique it and see what can we learn about that literature by engaging in a discussion within small groups, so that we can then think about the implications of what we're learning for our own current or future research and practice. The course is designed where you are going to be placed into small groups, and then you're going to weekly be doing small group discussions around articles. So let's talk more about that. Before we do, I just want to highlight this one slide. There is this method called SQ6R, which is not at all intuitive. The authors did that to help us remember it, but whatever, right? Nevertheless, the ideas are useful. Basically, what the authors suggest when you're reading an article is to first read the abstract, look at the headers, get a sense of what is it about before you actually do a deep dive read. And then before you read it, jot down what are the questions that the author is trying to answer, and then what questions do you have that you're hoping to get answered from the article. And then as you go through the article and read it, make little notes in the margins, reflecting on what you're reading. One trick that I do if an article happens to be particularly dense is I'll read a paragraph and then I'll just write a quick phrase in the column next to that paragraph about like the main idea of the paragraph. Obviously, I don't do that every time I read something, but if you happen to get an article that's particularly complex or challenging, that's a good approach, because then you can then go back and say, okay, this is the main idea of each paragraph. Now I understand what this article is about. It's just a tip that I use. The whole point of this method is to help us essentially carry on a dialogue with the author, right? Because in graduate school, we're at that place in our careers where we no longer want to accept everything that the author says as truth. Rather, we want to think critically about what has been written and determine if we do agree with the author, why don't we agree with them, what parts do we agree with or not agree with, and how does what we're learning fit into our past knowledge and our future career goals. So that's the whole point of reading the literature. So what I'd like to do now is do an overview of the syllabus and the Canvas page. So I'm going to step away from the PowerPoint a little bit, and we're going to pull up the syllabus. So the syllabus is pretty simple. This is not a complex course. I will start off by saying sometimes students contact me with a lot of anxiety around grades in one of these seminars. I'm going to encourage you to breathe and relax. This is not an intense grading course. That's not the purpose of it. This is a pass-fail course. I encourage you to be engaged. Please be engaged. You're going to get as much out of this course as you put into it. But it's not about the grade. It's about being exposed to new ideas, hopefully, and reflecting on those ideas and thinking about how the topics being discussed help us learn more about health disparities and to become better public health practitioners or researchers. That's really what this course is all about. So let's look at the syllabus. That's my contact information at the top. I'm just going to go past all that so you can read it. I'm going to skip this work expectation piece because I'm going to go into that in more detail in just a moment, and focus here. So basically, you guys are going to be split into small groups. And I discuss the formatting for those groups in a separate video where we talk about setting up your presentation and how to facilitate your talk. And I'll show you again where that link is in the Canvas page in a moment. But essentially, I've already placed you into groups. Your groups are going to be set up so that in an ideal situation, each of you facilitates one time. Depending on the number of students enrolled, it is possible that some of you might need to facilitate more than once. So if that is the situation in your group, please be kind and step forward and offer to facilitate twice, especially if this is an interest you have a strong interest in. Please step forward and do that. If you have more than one interest area, it's a way to explore that, those two different areas. So basically, every week, except for the week you're facilitating, the expectation is that you log in and you're doing a minimum of 5 posts a week. We're going to be using VoiceThread this semester to engage in our discussion rather than doing the discussion board in Canvas. When you click on the VoiceThread module, it's going to launch the VoiceThread app, and your entire discussion will be happening within that framework. You are expected to do a minimum of 5 substantive posts a week to get complete credit for the week. Your facilitator is being asked to provide 2 discussion prompts, one discussion prompt for their article and a second discussion prompt for a real-world example. You're encouraged to respond to both of those prompts, but you don't have to, right? You just have to have 5 substantive prompts at some place within there. So if, for example, you're really interested in the methodology and you have 3 posts about the methodology, and maybe you respond to one post on the discussion question, the another one what you find intriguing, and you didn't answer that other discussion question, that's okay. I would encourage you to participate in those discussion questions because your facilitator put work into it. But the idea is we want to try to create a more organic conversation. That's why we're using VoiceThread, and so you just need a minimum of 5 posts. When it is your week to facilitate, instead of responding to the post, obviously you've created the post, so now you're going to be responding to the post of your colleagues. So you will be looking at what they've written, and then you'll be responding to that. So you still have to do a minimum of 5 posts, but now you're in a different role. You're not answering your own questions or saying what you've done. Instead, you're just responding to them. Okay. When you select an article that's been published in the last 5 years. If you have a really great article that's 6 years old, that's okay. I'm not going to kill you on it. I just don't want anything really old. We want to try to stay current with the literature. Okay. Try to select a topic and a population that has not already been selected by one of your classmates. So if in the week prior, one of your classmates looked at breast cancer among African American women, then please try to pick something other than breast cancer, and ideally something other than African American women. That's not to say we can't talk about cancer more than once, and certainly it doesn't mean we can only talk about African American women once. We can talk about them more than one time. It's just from week to week we want to get exposure to different groups and to different topics throughout the semester. Before noon on Sunday is your goal. Your goal is Sunday on noon, but definitely on Sunday. You want to email me your PowerPoint presentation. If you're doing a PowerPoint, you don't have to use PowerPoint. I created a PowerPoint template that walks you through essentially the important elements to discuss. You can use that. Most of the folks in my summer class SGM seminar used it, but you don't have to. If you want to create a different video using Screencast-O-Matic or some other way of presenting your work, you can. It is your choice how you present it. Either way, you're going to send me your video, your PowerPoint if you have it, a link to your real-world example, whether that's a newspaper article, whether that's a YouTube video, a poem, whatever it is, I'll need to get a copy of it. And you're going to create your VoiceThread. And there are instructions under the resource tab for how to create your VoiceThread. I'll show you where that is in a moment. But you're going to need to create your VoiceThread. You're going to send me all of your materials on Sunday. And when you send me your VoiceThread, make sure that you share it with me and that you give me the right to edit. That's going to be an important piece. Once I get all of that information from all of the groups, I'll go in and check all the VoiceThreads to make sure they're working. I'll upload your materials to Canvas just to make sure everything is set up. Once all groups are set up, then I will activate the modules for the coming week for everyone. My goal is to do that every week by Monday night. Occasionally, if I have an issue with a group, it's not going to happen until Tuesday, but the goal is Monday night. Definitely by Tuesday, it'll be up. And please, when you send me your materials, please also give me your cell phone, because if I need to get in touch with you quickly because I'm having an issue with your materials, I want to be able to reach out to you and not wait for you to check your email that evening. If, for example, you're a clinician and you're in clinic all day, I don't want to wait till that night before you check your email and then we've lost an entire day. I want to be able to shoot you a text so that when you're on a break or whatever, you can take care of the problem. The most common reason I end up contacting someone is because they forgot to give me editing rights to their VoiceThread and they just have to go in and click that button. So give me your cell phone just in case we need it. So that's what you'll send me, all right? And then I'll get it posted. And then the content, what you talk about is right here. These are the sort of things you talk about. You can see the PowerPoint template is optional, though you're encouraged to use it if you find it a helpful tool for you. You don't have to answer every single question, only answer those questions that are appropriate for your article. So what I've done in weeks 1 and 2, I'm facilitating weeks 1 and 2 of this course. In the first week, I'm not using the PowerPoint template. Instead, I created a video using Screencast-O-Matic. And so I wanted to show you what that looks like. The second week, I'm using the PowerPoint template. So after the first 2 weeks, you'll have an example of how to use each of those 2 methods. Again, you're not constrained to only those 2 methods. Do what works for you. Think about what is the best way to teach what my material to my colleagues and my group. And increase their learning and understandability and ability to engage in a discussion about the topic. Okay, that's how you want to set it up. If you have any questions about setting up your materials, feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm happy to help. So let's talk about grades. I said grades are really not the focus of this course, and they're really not. It's really about engaging in the conversation and just learning from each other. Every time I take this course, I learn something new. Seriously, I've yet to have an entire semester go by where I haven't learned something. I learn as much from you guys as hopefully you're going to learn from me, if not more. This is a pass-fail course, which means that a minimum of 12 out of the 14 weeks, you will need to participate. I say 14 weeks because we're not going to meet the week of Thanksgiving. We're going to have that week off. So 12 out of the 14 weeks, you need to have a minimum of 5 substantive posts, okay? If you do that, you're good to go, and you don't have to worry about it, okay? This is the typical school stuff, so I'm going to skip down to the very end, and that's the disability accommodation. If you have a disability letter, I need a copy of it. Please send that to me right away in case we need to make any adjustments. If you think you have a disability and need an accommodation for my course or any other course, please contact Dr. Marianne Smith and get that letter. Please don't wait until you're in crisis to get this letter. This is a kind of a PSA beyond just my class. This is true for all of your classes. Sometimes students think that even if they have this letter on file with the school, that the faculty know. That's not the case. We don't actually know about that letter unless you give it to us. So every semester, you're going to need to give a copy of your letter to all of your faculty who are teaching a course so that they can make the appropriate accommodations for you. So please, if you have a letter, give that to me. Okay, I'm going to close the syllabus because that's all we need to know about the syllabus, and we're going to jump to the Canvas page. So here is our Canvas page. So this is the home page. Announcements are always going to be at the top, and then you can see the active modules. You can scroll through and see them here. You can also click here to get all of the announcements. A copy of the syllabus is listed here. As I add, there's the full syllabus that we just reviewed. As I add modules that you guys send me, you'll see it fill in down here with the due dates. Canvas will just automatically generate that. Within this folder, you've probably already figured out there is the start here. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. You're currently watching this video. Here is a video about the Health Disparity Certificate. This course is one of the required courses for the certificate, so I encourage you to watch that short video about the certificate program. And then here's the video that you really do need to watch about how to prepare your facilitation materials. Here are a ton of resources for you. This is a really helpful link, the VoiceThread Home. I click on that first thing when I sign into one of these online courses, and then I just open my VoiceThread in a new window. and work from there. It's the easiest way to do it. If you don't know how to use VoiceThread, here's a video on how to use it. I use Screencast-O-Matic sometimes. That's actually what I'm using right now. Here's a video on how to use Screencast-O-Matic. If you're not sure what topic you want to present on, I encourage you to click on this NIMHD link and get some ideas of topics. And then here are places where you can go to the library. I would start with PubMed, but use whichever database is most comfortable to you. Here's how the weeks are going to look. Each week, it's going to say week 1, and it'll have your group assignments. So right now, I haven't had everyone enroll. I'm actually making this video in July. But once students enroll, I'll be creating groups. And so it's going to say like week 1, group 1, week 1, group 2, week 1, group 3, etc. And the topic will be listed there. The first 2 weeks, everyone has the exact same topic. Beginning in week 3, the groups are going to have different topics. All right. One of the nice things about the way I set this up is that let's say that you're in group 1, but you're really interested in group 3's topic. You can click on their materials and get access to all of their materials. So if you want to look at their article, you want to look at their VoiceThread, your real world example, you can. It'll all be here. You'll have access to all the material from all the groups throughout the entire semester. So feel free to browse other groups. Don't be confined to just yours. But you're responsible for responding to the VoiceThread for your group, right? And so, for example, you'll see week 1, all groups VoiceThread. It just says all groups because all groups have the same VoiceThread. It's just they're grouped out. But in future weeks, it would say like week 1 or week 3, group 2 VoiceThread. And that's the one you'll respond to. Hopefully that's clear. I will always post the article that's being referenced and the real world example as well so that you can access those here. One of the limitations of the VoiceThread is it doesn't have live URLs. And so within the VoiceThread, you'll need to, in the comments tab on the side, you'll need to paste in the VoiceThread URL or whatever URLs you have, just paste them in the side so people can access them. But I also try to put them here just so that you can get to them as well. The other thing to know is that within the discussions tab, I create a discussion folder called shared resources. Anytime there is a really cool link that would be useful to folks, I try to paste it in here. I encourage you to do the same. If there is a great resource that you learn about, please share it and put it here so that we all have it and can go back and reference it or save it to our personal computers, whatever we want to do. So please use that just to share any resources related to health disparities that you learn about. The last thing is the Peoples tab. So once folks have registered and registration closes, then I'm going to be creating project groups. And so you'll be able to click on this tab and there'll be a group assignment for you and you'll be able to see what group you've been assigned to at that time. So just check back on there and see what your group is. You'll have a group number and you'll know who the members are. Okay. The other thing is, and I apologize, I know this is a long video, but we're going over a lot of the details, so bear with me. The other thing that I want to point out to you is in week 1, we have this link to the Learning Community Facilitator sign up. This is actually a Google spreadsheet, and here are all the weeks of the course. And so if you look, you can actually see, let me minimize this so I can pull it around a little bit, make it easier for you to see what I want you to see. There we go. So if you look, you can see groups 1, 2, 3, etc., right? So make sure you click on the tab for your group, and then you'll notice in weeks 3 through 14, someone needs to sign up. So please put your name and your topic here. Do this by the end of week 1. We need this filled up by the end of week 1 so we know who's presenting when and on what topic. If someone signs up before you and they pick your topic and population, then please pick a different one. Okay, let's not be redundant. Notice that the entire course is asynchronous until the last week. The last week, we're going to have a class-wide synchronous discussion in which we just reflect on what we've learned and any implications that we can think about for research, policy, and practice. and we'll send out a doodle poll near the end of the semester to get that scheduled. Okay, so I think that's everything you need to know about the Canvas page. So the last thing then, I'm going to return to this, and I just want to pull up this last slide. And this is just a reminder, if you have an ADA letter and you need any accommodations, please let me know. If you cannot hear the videos, please let me know that too as soon as possible. And if you're struggling in any way with this online format and you have suggestions for creating a better learning environment, I'm always happy to hear suggestions. All right. Otherwise, guys, please enjoy the course. I look forward to interacting with you throughout the semester on both Canvas and VoiceThread.